Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. I'm Stefania. Today's video is gonna be a flip through of my reading journal, so I'm gonna show you the pages that I've created in March. I'm gonna start from the yearly pages and then I'm gonna move to the monthly pages. Because in case you missed it, I had to move to a new notebook with March because my previous one didn't have enough space for March. So as always, let's start from the yearly pages and then we're gonna move on to the monthly pages. I'm not gonna talk too much about all of these pages. I'm talking about the yearly pages because if you want, you can find a plan with me video online where I show you how I've created them, and also a flip through where I'm talking about these spreads and how I'm gonna use them. So I'm not gonna talk too much about them now because I swear my flip through are always incredibly long. The cover page, and then I've added here my books, the 5 that I've read in March, and sadly, as you can see, there are 2 new books that were into the best 1 star and half. It wasn't an amazing month. It wasn't that bad, but even that wonderful. Then I updated my book log with the books that I've read, and this month was a little bit, let's say, an in-between, because the previous month it was all about physical books basically, but this month instead it was a little bit of ebooks and physical books. Reading tracker in March, I've done it again. I've read a little bit each single day and I'm so happy and proud about it. There were days in which I've read a lot and days in which I've read not much, but it's fine. So far I'm perfectly on track with my goal of reading a little bit each single day of the year. 2024 books read, I've added here the 5 books, and I'm gonna talk about them when I'm gonna go through their spreads. Pick one, I still have to print the book cover, but my favorite book from March was Lightlark. Favorite books, nothing changed because again, February and March have been 2 months without a single 5 stars. It's crazy. It's just that for me giving 5 stars isn't easy. If there's something that just comes in my mind and is like, nope, then I will not do it. Monthly reads, I've had it here, the 5 books. Leggiamo con le streghe, the book for March was Final Offer, while for Cerbero Book Club it was Nessun Dove. Series tracker, I still have to update it. This page is so complicated for me. I always have to update it each single month, but I forget, or I update and then I forget about the series, and then once I think I'm done with it, I realize I'm not, and so I have some series that still have to be added here. But I'm thinking, since I don't have so much space, that maybe I will only add series that I've started, that I want to keep on reading and that I haven't finished yet. Elsewhere, I don't know if I'll have enough space. Bingo, I've updated it with the books of March, but right now I don't remember exactly with what. Storygraph challenge, I've had the 5 books I've read in March. I really like this thing of coloring them according to the month. And yes, I still have to update both Goodreads and Storygraph, but I'll do it. I still don't know how, when, but it's gonna happen before or later. A to Z challenge, something changed for the title of the book, while for the author, I don't think anything changed. Let's say their name starts with a letter that's already filled in, so nothing changed. I instead am not sure if I've finished this, like I have to update the back of this one still, but for romance I read Final Offer, and this one I think I've done nothing, but I'm not sure because these 2 I didn't give too much time to them. I just done in a fast way. So maybe they're gonna be better next month. Maybe I'm gonna look at them in a better way. Genre tracker, 2 romances, 3 fantasies, 3 young adult, 3 adult. Even if this one last part here, I'm never sure because sometimes I confuse myself. My TBR, well, the month started with 6 books. I've had it 1 and I've read only 2, which makes me have 5 books at the end of March, my TBR. This happened because in March I've decided to join another reading group. I'm probably gonna create another spread for them. I'm still not sure. And the thing is, every single time there's a book that gets picked up for a reading group, I never have it in my TBR. It's crazy. So I ended up buying them and adding to my TBR, or I read them in a book, or I take them from the library. And the result is that, well, even if I don't buy a new book, I don't give priority to the books that are already there in my TBR. And the result is this. That in March I had 6 books in my TBR, and I've read 5 books in March. But only 2, because I say at the end of the day, March had 1 during the month that got added to it, so it was 7. And I read 2. I actually should have reached the end of the month basically with 1 or 2 books if I would have read everything from a TBR, but I haven't. Same things is gonna happen in April, just so you know. Reading stats. I've read 5 books, 3 were books and 2 were physical books, 1,610 pages, 31 days. Again, 0 book in English and 5 in Italian. And under other readings. I for sure have to start reading more books in English because, well, I have a goal in my bingo for number of books read in English. And I think that now we can move straight to the monthly pages. March, as always, the Plan With Me video, it's online and you can find it in my channel. I will not go through the stats all over again because it's quite pointless. I've just said them. Monthly view, as you can see, it's full of colors. I keep on writing this title wrong. I don't know why while I'm writing it I'm thinking about something else. I've wrote it wrong everywhere basically, but okay. But anyway, I'm not gonna talk about this one because I've started it at the end of March and I'll finish it in April if I manage to, because this book is taking me forever. As you can see, there have been some days in which I finished the book and started another one, but there haven't been a single day in which I was reading 2 books at the same time because, I don't know, one wasn't really catch me or something like that. Simply was, I was finishing one and I was starting another one. Reading tracker, as I said, I read a little bit each single day and I'm happy. There have been days in which I've read a lot, like this day in which I read 178 pages, which is lovely. And then there were days in which I've read basically nothing, like the last few days of the month. And now I'm gonna move to the pages that are created for the books. As always, I'm not gonna talk too much about them because I don't want to give any spoilers. First book was the one that was chosen for my book club, and just right now I realized by looking at it that I'm missing a letter. Oh gosh. Well, it's gonna stay like this. It should be Nissundove. There should be a letter here between the S and the N. Whatever. It was destiny. I just didn't like this book. I found it boring. I couldn't get into it. I don't know if it's because something I lost in translation. I don't know. But I just couldn't get throughout this book. It took me forever. About, I think, 10 days or even more to read it. I just couldn't do it. But I finished it, so I could talk about it fully. But again, it was, I don't know, I was expecting something more because I'm even one of these people that voted for it. You know, when it was time to pick a book, I voted for this one because it was something like a lovely one from the plot. But no, it wasn't. So sad about it. And the more I look at this, the more I'm seeing the problem with the title. Anyway, 1.5 stars. It took me forever to read. I didn't feel anything from the characters. The story, well, the ending, I already knew I was going to finish. I'm sorry, I predicted it straight at the beginning. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the right book for me, but at the end of the day, I just couldn't like it. I didn't enjoy it, and this is the biggest problem. Sometimes there are books which are full of problems, which aren't perfect, but you can enjoy them. You end up loving it because of the story or maybe the characters, so other things that aren't perfect don't stand out. But there's nothing that I was like, okay, I love this, or I'm really enjoying it. And so it wasn't the best way to start the month. Next book was Bride. Again, the previous one was for the book club, but this one was for a reading group. And to be honest, if it wouldn't be for that, I don't think I would have read it. Because I read The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood, and I didn't like The Love Hypothesis that much. If I'm not wrong, if I remember correctly, because it was about 2 years ago, I gave it, I don't know if 3 stars, but I was like being nice. I wanted to give less than 3 stars, because I just didn't like it, and I wasn't sure about reading this one. Instead, I ended up loving it. 4 stars. I loved almost everything, but the thing that I love the most is the main character. Misery is definitely that girl that makes you think, wow. She is constantly making fun of herself. She's living in a way that's different from other characters like her. Usually, this type of characters, I like everything is happening to me, I'm trying to be left down by it, or trying to, I don't know, in a way or another, breaking the system. It's like their goal to change something. So, or they fight hard or they just give up. Instead, she's in the middle. She's so funny about it. She's never complaining about anything that happens to her. Never. She's always like finding the funny thing of the situation, and I absolutely loved it. And the fact that she's obsessed with peanut butter, for me was like, it was just so funny. I loved her. And the only thing that I'm not really happy with is the ending, not because of how we ended, but because I feel like it was a little bit too fast. Like, one moment we were in the middle of the story that took enough time, but not too much, and 30 seconds after, the book was over. I would have loved to have more chapters by the end, like giving more space to the ending part, because they really deserved a few pages more, according to me. Final Offer, 4 stars, probably is the book that I loved the most in the Dreamland series. I say probably because for me the story was lovely. I'm not a big fan of second chances book, because usually if the second chance happens because the first time something failed because one of the two, for example, cheated on the other, I'm not fine with it, because for me cheating is something I can't move on from. Like, once you've cheated, you ask for it, don't expect a second chance from me. But in this case, the second chance is different. That's not the main reason why it happened. It's not the reason at all, because no one of the two cheated in their previous relationship. I loved it. The story was different, and most of all, Cole wasn't like his brothers. They were perfect. They were almost impossible to be considered, as I can understand them, I can see myself in them, while with Cole is different because he's the messy one. He's the one who's full of problems, who has his addictions, who is trying hard to fix his life, but every single time running away from problems, it's definitely easier. I couldn't wait to read this book because I loved him in the second book, and what I loved is that in this book, from the second one, we still have the friendship between him and Iris, and I absolutely loved it. She's definitely the best female character, so the second book win the best female character for me, because in this one, I'm gonna be honest, Lana didn't really like her that much. I was like, okay, but like, I don't know, part of me was seeing her as if she didn't grow from her teenage years. It's just, I don't know. But I love the Kami, absolutely, yes. That little girl is so lovely, it's funny, and I love to see her with Kondo. I was in love with that. I think that the thing that didn't really click with me, the problem was, for example, bringing in Lana's sister. I don't get why. Like, there was no need to make her appear that day at her front door. There was no need, because then I was expecting to see her again. Instead, it was just like a random thing that had no point in happening, according to me. Like, it's not that in the moment he realized that he was doing the same to her, just like the woman that was standing in front of him did. No, he already knew he messed up with Lana. He already knew he made her go through hell, through so much pain. So I don't get why she was needed. Yes, she's Kami's mom, but you could have just let it like that at the beginning when we found out who's her mother, and that's it. There was no need for her to actually come back in the book. One thing that I couldn't fully stand also is the reaction of everybody in this small town. Don't get me wrong, I came from what you wouldn't even be able to call a small town, because there aren't even 400 people where I live, and a part of them don't even live here. They simply have an house in their name, and that's it. We haven't seen them here in decades. So everybody knows everybody. Your businesses are never yours. I don't know why holders know about your private life even before you do, basically. So I get that part. I get the small town population that wants to be on Lana's side. She's a good one. He hurted her. Okay. But it's been 10 years. Like, move on. Instead of trying so hard to punish him now, when you don't even know the full story, because they just didn't stop for 30 seconds thinking why he left, what was really going on in his mind. But like, give him a chance. Instead, they're all so much focused on hating him, on treating him badly, that while they're doing it, I'm more thinking about why are you still doing it? Like, aren't you more worried about the fact that she, after 10 years, is still there? According to me, it was perfect. But for the things I've said before, I couldn't give more than 4 stars. Another book was Vietato. It's by an Italian author, and it was chosen by the reading group in which I'm in. I am not a fan of this one, honestly. Basically, it's a forbidden love one, and for me, the problem is that I just seems to be unable to get it. Like, they are brother and sister, they've been both adopted, and here is where people will go like, yeah, see, they don't have any blood in common. Okay, but probably because I see adoption in another way. I see, like, if you grow up with these people, they are your family. I don't care about blood. Like, I just don't. So I just couldn't get into this. But most of all, I couldn't stand the main character. He is incredibly possessive. He wants to have things in his own way. He wants to tell to her how to dress, who she can see, where she can go. I just hated that. I couldn't stand him. And the worst part is that all that's in between, nothing was happening. Like, there's the beginning and the end, and the whole story in between, it was constantly the same thing. Another thing that I wanted to say is that this book was chosen because they said, yes, it's connected to her other series, but you don't have to read them, this can be read as a standalone. Yes and no. Like, yes, their story, you can understand it from here, but there are too many things that are dropped here in this book which are not explained, but you should have explained them, that just aren't explained. And we actually had a meeting with the author, and she actually said that she hates the idea of writing the same things in different books. Like, she was like, I've explained what these things are in the other books, and I get it, but at this point you shouldn't say you can understand this book fully, because you're left with too many questions by the end. I personally didn't like it, so I will not read the others. I'm sorry. Last book of the month, it was Lightlark. I loved it, 4 stars. Here is the thing, is it perfect? No. I see all the problems that there are with the book, like it's crystal clear from her writing that it's not a person who's been doing it for years and years and years. She's just at the beginning of her, let's say, career. The characters aren't perfect, I'm missing some stuff here and there, but the reality is that the story just got me. I couldn't stop reading it. There was so much happening. Here is the thing, in this book, every single chapter is different from the other one, or better, in every single chapter there's something that's going on, something happens. You don't have time to digest what just happened in the previous chapter, then in the one that you're currently reading, something else gets in. And so this story is what really got me in this book. I just couldn't stop reading it. I noticed some people got disappointed. They were like, oh, this was sold as the perfect example between this book and that other. I just got it for Christmas. Let's say I've heard about it, but not so much, so I'm not disappointed because it's not like I was expecting to read something in this book from something else, if you get what I mean. But I loved it. The story itself was something that really got me, and I can't wait for the second one to come out, but I don't know when it's gonna happen here in Italy because the first one was gifted to me in Italian, so of course I will finish it with all Italian books. However, why not more 4 stars is because especially at the ending, I'm missing something. I'm missing some feelings and emotions to be like, okay, I fully get it. I'm just missing it. And I can tell you exactly what, because it will be spoiler. For some people that were like, however, that other character was portrayed as the enemy. What happened? Why? There's no clue. And I'm like, it's not a standalone. So probably there's no clue in this one because we're gonna get more focused on that character in the second one. I absolutely loved it. This is the book to start if you're looking for a queen who's powerless, compared to other 5 between kings and queens that all have their own power. I absolutely love this. 4 stars. So these are the books that I've read in March. As you can see, it was a month full of 4 stars and a star and out, so let's say it wasn't in between. I was wondering, have you read these books? Yes or not? Are you planning on reading them? Let me know it with a comment. As always, thank you so much for your support and for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to give it a thumb up and to subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye!